This month, July 2024, is the 18th anniversary of this little channel, and I thought there's no better way to commemorate this than going through and critiquing and ranking all of my past openings. As much as I can't stand talking about the things that I've done well, I do love critiquing things that I've done really badly. It's just like, love that. So I'm going to be doing that. But cast your minds back. It's 2006. High School Musical is coming out. David Tennant's first series of The Doctor comes out. I am 12 years old, and I'm like, you know what? YouTube, that's currently popping. Let's get on that. My first edit, I don't think I even had any access to full episodes. I was just using clips that were being posted on Mystic Points, which, God rest their soul, they really helped me out in the first few years. So the first opening I made was creatively called My Fan-Made Mystic Force Opening. And it was just a generic end of series opening. I didn't start from the beginning. I just started wherever the show was at that point. There's really nothing to talk about with this opening. It's so like bare bones, basic. It's still got the big TV ratings in the corner, which are the bane of my life. I'm gonna put this in C tier because it's not bad. There's nothing to comment on. So as you can go and see, I'm going to deal with that. The next one I made is called Mystic Force Opening. I'm going to put this in bin already because I hate that font. I hate that font. It's just like a generic, like Windows mystical fancy font, which is fine. But I was obsessed with this font growing up, right? I would play restaurant a lot, and I would make my own menus, and that was always the font because I was trying to be like a bougie restaurant. But all the foods are obviously based on just the plastic food that I owned. So it was just like an egg or like one sausage or like a pile of peas. Like it was really, this is not relevant at all. But that font haunted me. Bin. Because at this point I still didn't have full episode encodes because I didn't know how to download them. So some of the clips were just awful. Like Vina's credit is just not given. It's not serving. She's not slaying like she always is. Also, the colours just clash, and that's fine because you couldn't do anything on Movie Maker. You couldn't change a border. You couldn't add a drop shadow. You just had to deal with what you were given. I could have just put them all in white. Next up is Operation Overdrive, the first full series that I edited openings for, and I think I'm fairly sure I started to get full episodes here. I must have. Definitely at the beginning, I was still using Mystic Points clips. You can tell with the clips I chose. And also at this point, I had learned how to rig Movie Maker where I could add plugins. The 3-stack clip plugin was like a transition because they didn't have effects, really. Or did they have effects? Not to this degree, at least. So you would put the bottom clip on, you'd put the first picture-in-picture clip you want to put next, and then you'd cross-fade them over each other, put the transition effect on that, and then you'd have picture-in-picture. But if you wanted more, you'd have to export that clip, re-import it, add a new clip, transition, export that, add a one. So to get one of these credits, it would be like 4 different renders. The Movie Maker forums, I hope they're still going. I hope there are people still there. That would make me so happy. Halfway through the series, I was like, you know what, these credits are a bit boring. Let's amp things up. Let's do some effects. I use a software called Wax. Was it like an After Effects clone? Not quite. It did some stuff. It didn't do a lot of stuff. I used this map background from I think the promos, they had a matte background. Put that into Paint and drew blobs in different colours. And I go into Wax and key out the purple blob, put a clip behind that, export that, re-import it, key out the green blob, put a clip behind that, and then just keep doing that. And I really tried to get a feathered edge, but I just couldn't figure out how to feather the edges. So it's really crunchy, and there's nothing I could do about that. Honestly, for what I was trying to do, I don't think it ended up too badly. I mean, it's not good. But like for the time, 2007, I was 13. Because I remember, what's the episode called? I don't know. The one where Matt guesses Battleizer. That came out on the Jetix player like a few days before it aired on TV. And I was like, if I can get an encode to this, I'm going to look like I have exclusive clips. So I did that. I was really smug about it. But the problem is the clips look absolutely hideous because they were downloaded off the Jetix player in 2007. I feel like the sequences themselves of clips, there's not a lot of cohesion sometimes. When the openings evolve, I feel like it should evolve, not just be like a completely new series of clips that don't really make sense together. Like there's one clip of them like whipping out their trackers, and it's when Dax is in a ridiculous costume from that film he's making, and I'm like, that doesn't feel like it fits there. I don't think this is a solid bin because I've taken some shots. I was really, really going for it. This is going to go in C tier, okay? Next is just a random Ninja Storm opening I made. For a while, this is the most viewed video on my channel. Yeah, like, I don't really vibe with this opening. It's, like, fine. It's just a series of Mystic Points clips again. And it's a random clip of, like, the Thunder Rangers demorphing, and I don't feel that really should be an opening. That's not really a fun clip to pop in, you know? Bin. Next up is a Wild Force opening that I did. Only one I made, and it's going in bin already. I know it is. It has the same problem as the Mystic Force opening, where it's just a clip with some text, and the text clashes so much because there's no shadow or there's no border. Jungle Fury. We're at Jungle Fury. I remember I made this opening, and I turned to my brother and I said, this is the best thing I've ever made. I mean, the thing is, it would be a worry if that was still the best thing I'd ever made. It's been 12 years. Has it been 12 years since 2008? 16 years since 2008. You know what? I don't think it's too bad. I think the sequences of clips work together. They're fine. I had full episodes at this point. I do remember that. Solid. The credits, not great. Because I was still using wax. So you can see the color border around the edges where the JPEG didn't want to really play ball. We're learning. I eventually did redo these credits later on, and I made them worse because I took away like the claw, which to be fair, the claw really wasn't working because you can't see much video through a claw, but at least it had like an identifying feature, whereas the next ones were just like two boxes, and boxes are boring. I remember my brother really didn't like, there's a bit where the lyrics are like, we're fast, we're strong, unstoppable. And I had 3 clips of Daishi there, and he really didn't like that. He was like, why are you saying that Daishi is fast, strong, and unstoppable? Was that a good message to be in your opening? And you know what? He's dead right. But I still like that sequence of clips. So, yeah. I'm going to put that in C tier. Next up, we've got Dino Thunder version 1. I was being experimental a little bit this time. I was trying to do sound effects. Already, I know this is going in the bin. Straight in the bin you go. Like, not to be too harsh on myself. Credits done in wax, a surprise. But the background is just a still from Abaranger. I couldn't even, like, loop it. Couldn't even loop them off. And then I'm like, at some point I realised these were bad. So I was like, you know what, when Trent comes in, we'll give him some new credits. And they're equally. And I knew these credits were bad after a while. So I just stopped making Dino Thunder openings, and it took me like 2 years to finally finish them. By that point, I'd moved on to a new editing software, and I could do better things with text and stuff. So the text is better, but my god, the credits aren't. And I think it's just because, I don't know, I don't like the blurry background thing that I've got going on. RPM is here. It's on TV. I hate the theme song, turns out. I don't particularly like it now, but I have an appreciation of it. So I decided to use that, like, Disney teen demo. Honestly, it didn't turn out too badly. I don't know where I found that background. It's on some generic stock footage website, and I was obsessed with it. Like, I used it for everything, and it's just a bit too still. I hadn't moved all over yet, so this was still waxing about. But then, you can tell by opening 2, that's where I get my new editing software, so I must have got it halfway through 2009. You could do picture-in-picture so easily. You could do multiple layers. I think up to 3 layers. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. The problem I find with RPM, because a lot of the footage has been graded to look like the post-apocalyptic wasteland, it's just not very helpful for making edits with, because it just all looks one color. So you have to recolor correct it back to how it would have looked in camera, which I didn't do here, so it doesn't look great. It's not bad, but it's gonna have to go and see. Reversion. My credits for there's nothing really to talk about. I was trying to use Zyuranger footage, but because the encoders I had from Zyuranger, they just looked really washed out, and I applied 0 color correction to them to make them match the rest of the footage. So it looks a bit insane. But the background, I don't know, the hue doesn't work with some of the clips. It's going in bin. Next up, we've got Mystic Force, where we finally do a full series, thank God. We committed to Mystic Force, finally. And I decided to use the Ron Wasserman demos. And you know what? Already this is going in B because I have really fond memories of this opening. I really like using the Magiranger emblems with a bit of lens flare, and it's not the greatest lens flare, but it was the first lens flare I could do in this new software, right? So I was very excited. And there's like a swish transition, and it goes into the credits with the cloudy background in the sparkles and the ranger in the corner. I think it works really well. Next up is SPD. I was going to say V1, but there's actually no V2 yet. I really want to redo these openings. I have an idea, and I've tried to execute it a few times. It just hasn't quite worked. It's just going to be a lot. I have to sit down and commit to it. And my problem is if something doesn't work immediately, or at least seem like it's going to work soon, I'm out. I have no patience. Yeah, I think these openings are fine. I quite like the boxes in front of the metal background with the siren flashing. Again, it's like a still image, but at least it's got the lights flashing, so it's not terrible. The box is very SPD. I like every ranger has a shot of them morphing in it, even though Skies is from like an almost, I think it's like one of the last episodes. So theoretically, if they made this opening, they wouldn't have that footage yet because they wouldn't have filmed it yet. But that's, again, no one cares about that. Pretty solid SPD. Could do with a refresh. Will be coming soon. Within a few years, probably. So I'm going to put in B. Samurai version 1. I don't know how I feel about these credits. I like the ranger in the middle and 2 clips either side. I feel like I'm putting too many things on the plate. Like there's this like shadowy effect that I've got going on the text, which I think like as a new editing software at this point, I was loving the effects. I think by the third opening they changed up a little bit. Yeah, third opening is a little bit more calmed down. There was no more zoom effects on the text. Yeah, I think it's too much. Because like the ranger's head feels so far in the corner. We don't need 2 representations of the ranger form in one shot, I guess. C, too busy. Too busy. Ninja Storm, version 1. It's a B. It's a B. I think the credits work. They're simple. They're fine. They've got nice feathering on the edges that aren't obtrusive. The only thing that makes me sad about Ninja Storm openings is that the Thunder Rangers and Cam don't have like a matching like morpher shot because they were filmed specifically for the opening. They wanted to take it from the show, so it's really hard to match that up. No complaints, but it could do with a revamp, maybe soon. We'll see. I've got ideas. There's ideas in there floating around. Super Samurai is going in C. It has the same problem as the Samurai with the cast credits. I just don't like the initial sequence of clips. It's a bit too panicked. Too much going on, and it's a bit like, ugh. Megaforce, I like the concept. I think the cast shots are too small. They're very like tucked away in the corner almost. I like the tinted rangers posing in the background. I think it just needs to be reordered a little bit. I'm not sure I like the choice of having the cast credits in the instrumental section, which is like in the back half of the opening. And the first half is all the clips of fighting. Then we have the villain section, and then we have the cast credits. I'm kind of into it because it's different. Did it work? Who knows? That's up for debate. On certain cast credit shot, you can see the mask that I made. I don't know why or what I did. What was I doing? Who knows? This might have been After Effects. I'm not entirely sure, you know. I like what I was going for. I think it could have been done better. Does that make it a B or a C? Nothing's hit A yet. Nothing is like where I'm completely solid. B, 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 B. B, 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 do I like it? Do I like it enough? No, I don't like it enough to be in B, thinking about it. It's gonna go in C. This is like an era where I wasn't doing anything outside of the current series airing opening. I took a break. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do what needs to be done. I'm going to do what's currently on TV, and that is it. I don't know why. I don't know what I was up to in 2012. I was in uni. Super Megaforce. The credits are quite good in my mind. I quite like them. I quite like the massive head. Maybe it's a little bit too big, but I mean, there's nothing I can really do about that because that's just the size it is in the frame, and that's it. Maybe it could have been slightly more to one side to allow the cast credits to have a bigger spot. I don't know why the Super Megaforce openings in particular are really poor quality. I must have rendered them in a weird... Yeah, because this would have been Premiere. And After Effects, yeah, definitely, because the rotoscoping, this is my first rotoscoping job. It's a B. Dino Charge. I like having their logo in front of the name. That works nicely. I like the simplicity of the credits, really. The first 12 seconds of this opening, I'm not sure I vibe with. Like, there's a fast selection of clips that I work, I think, in the first opening more than they do in the second and the third. I think in the first opening they feel more cohesive together, and then as it gets on, they add different clips in it, becomes a bit more of a jumbled mess. I'm not really a fan of that. But I think the credits work. I think they hold up, and I think that's going to go in a B. We're at Overdrive again. Overdrive back is version 2. The first version 2 that I did, because I was like, the first Overdrive ones don't count. I remember editing this opening because I was with my partner at this point, and I remember he would be in bed and I'd be editing this on the laptop next to him, and he would go absolutely insane because of this theme song. Editing, you're repeating certain bits over and over again, like the same 2 seconds, and he was like, oh my god, Adam, I'm gonna start screaming in a minute. To this day, he can still recite this opening almost word for word. I like this opening, and it might be the first A. All the clips work together. There's a few montages I really like. The bit where it's like 5 fingers reaching for the sky, I think that's a really nice section. And the bit right after Florg? Wow. Furious Norg credit, where there's just explosions to a beat. I think that works really nicely. There's a few things I don't like too much. I don't like the Florg credits, and I don't like the Spencer and Andrew credits. I could have done something else with those, but I don't know what. And there's certain credits that work better than others. Like Max works really well, I think. Ronnie's is quite bad. You barely see her, like where is she? Overall, I think this is an A tier. I think this still holds up. I really like it. Dino Supercharge. Again, with Dino Charge, there's something about those first 12 seconds that are really hard to edit to. But like the credit shots themselves, I quite like. I stand by them. In Dino Supercharge in the actual show, that final end credit shot, we all know it, where they've recolored the Aqua Ranger to be purple, and it looks insane. They drew a little skirt on her. So I was like, I hate that, so I'll make my own version. And I added the Purple Ranger doing like a pose. I think that worked really well. And then next to her, you've got Chase, which looks so bad. I put no effort into making Chase look good in this. I think this will go in B alongside Dino Charge. RPM, another demo. I still haven't made an official opening to it. Maybe one day, we'll see. I don't really... Do I vibe with the credits? I don't know. But the rest of the opening, I do quite vibe with. So I'm going to put in A. I'm going to put in A. And you would think quite questionable credits would lower it. Not in my box. I can do what I want. Jungle Fury V2. It's given like very Ninja Storm credits. It's the exact same formula, just a, 2 boxes feathered. But I think it works. One thing I really like about these openings is I like the final few seconds where it's got the pose shots. And it becomes incredibly chaotic when there's 8 of them. It doesn't fit the beat at all. I think these are some of my favourite openings that I've done. I really liked the Jungle Fury openings where every cast credit shot was followed by an explosion shot. I always felt like it was kind of like self-referential, where it was like, we know what's up. We know that we're going overboard. We may as well include this in our opening. And I say overboard in a loving way. I love the explosions. But I always got annoyed that they cut those out as soon as RJ became a ranger, because there wasn't any time. I was like, but I made sure to keep them in this opening. But the problem was, for all the explosions they did, I started to run out of ones for Lily and Theo. So the last explosion shots for them aren't as great as I want them to be. But it's fine. I think it still looks really good. So Jungle Fury V2 is going in A tier. I like it. Next up is Turbo. This is, I think, my first Saban era opening, apart from the random Wild Force one early on. I don't know, I always find it difficult making Saban era openings because there's just not the same diversity of clips. And also because they're so early in the run, I want to keep true to the eras that the shows are produced in. So I don't want to make credits that look like they could be from the modern era, so they kind of have to look a little bit dated, but not too dated. And I don't know where I stand on what I made. But basically, I don't mind the credits here. I think I found some nice shots of people smiling. Apart from Adam's, where he's just about to smile and then just his hand kind of interferes a little bit. It's fine. It's passable. Not offensive. Turbo goes in a B. Next up is Ninja Steel. I don't like, well, don't like is strong. I don't particularly care for the Ninja Steel openings, mainly because there is no clean version of the Ninja Steel theme. Everything I did had to match with pre-existing sound effects in the opening that some I could get rid of by reusing different parts, others I couldn't. I don't like the font I used. I like the kanji behind the cast names, but I don't like that I missed it on Sarah. I forgot. I must have hid the layer to do something and not unhid it, so I don't like that. I think the Super Ninja Steel ones I did worked better because it's like an updated version of these ones. I don't know, maybe it's just the song in general as well that I'm just not really, I don't really vibe with it. But I like the concept of the credits themselves. I just don't really like how they're executed. I'm going to put it in C. You know what? It's going to go for a C because I think I do it better later. Lost Galaxy. Lost Galaxy. Weirdly, really hard to find a shot of Damon looking happy. And it was so difficult. And the shot is like, it's so far in that I found a good shot for him that it was like, it was just on the cusp of me being like, they might have filmed that by that point. I've always had a soft spot for those Gingaman morphs, so I had to include them in there somewhere. And I think it works. It does a lot of what the actual opening does, kind of the same vibe, same beats. So I'm into it. I'm here for it. The cast credits, I don't know. It's not the most fun cast credit. I will say, in classic Adam style, I deleted the original files by the time I got to needing Corone's credit. There's a very obvious split screen down the middle where I just pasted Corone over Kendrick's, and I try not to look at it, but I see it every single time. Also, I just don't like her cast shot because everyone has two, but she only has one. But because she was in so little episodes near the end, and so little focus was given to her outside of her like astronomer arc in the beginning, that she never really looked happy. I don't know. There was never like a good shot of her. Like, I mean, even her morph in the series with her head pasted on Kendrick's. Like, they didn't give a shit about her at the end. I'm gonna go in B. I'm gonna give it a B. Dino Thunder version 2. The cast credits for this are very similar to the actual Dino Thunder opening, but I've gone with rotoscoping instead of like the feathered split screen. I think it works better on some shots than others. Connor's looks great. I think that really works. Ethan's looks okay. Kira's does not look okay. But for some reason, there's like a lack of good Kira shots to do this with. And also because the footage isn't as crisp. Like rotoscoping for like the modern era with like Blu-ray encodes. Doing Super Megaforce. Rotoscope was so easy. It was great. With the 480p Dino Thunder footage, it's less so. I don't know if I would try that again. Maybe now, because you know the rotoscoping's got a lot better on After Effects. I definitely prefer the fact that I didn't go with sound effects this time, and the text is a lot less gaudy. I'm glad that I gave Haley a credit. I think she always deserved a credit, and she was never given it. I really like these openings. A few minor tweaks, but generally, good job. Where are you going to go then, Dino Thunder? You're going to have to be B. Oh, A? Well, I've said about RPM, I really like the sequences, but not the credits as much, but I got an A. Should that get a B? But I really like the sequence. It's my own rules. Dino Thunder's going B. Actually, no, in that case, I'm going to demote RPM, because the sequence of clips is good, but the credits let it down. RPM, MO2, you're being demoted to B. Super Ninja Steel. See, I prefer these credits because the text is nicer, and behind onto like to the side of each range of like a nebulous cloud, misty background, and the star mask that's going around the characters' faces is got like a ranger coloured highlight behind them, which the other one didn't have. I think this works better. It's more cohesive. My opening is less chaotic than the Ninja Steel one because I learnt my lessons and learnt the flow of the song a little bit better. But still, it's plagued by the fact there is no clean version of that theme. Here we are. I think it's definitely better than Ninja Steel, so it's going to go up to a B. In Space, I really like the montage at the end. I feel like it evokes the same style as the In Space openings. I don't know if I like the cast credits. I don't know, but I kind of see them as an evolution of the Turbo openings as well. It's the same style. It's the exact same style. I don't vibe. not vibing. And I feel like that's what I think more than the sequence. So I'm going to put it in C. I'm going to put it in C. So Bonnier Open is just really hard to make. We're back onto the version 2. This is Samurai version 2. This is it. This is peak. This is great. This is beautiful. A few minor nitpicks. Like the cast credits are probably some of my favourite that I've done. Thanks to beautiful, crisp Blu-ray HD. I like the brushstroke idea. Maybe there's a bit too much bittiness that maybe takes away a little bit. But apart from that, I think it's pretty sick. A few minor nitpicks of the montage. But maybe, just maybe, they got sorted out at a later date. But we'll come back to that. Samurai V2 is going at B. Because I think it's almost there. Super Samurai V2. I know this is going in C. It's going in C. I have like such gripes with this opening. I think the montage is great. The montage really works. I like the bit with everyone holding out the black box. The credits themselves with I don't know, there's something just off. I mean, Mia's rotoscoping isn't great. Oh, Emily's rotoscoping, no, that's the one that bothers me. That one's really bad. I don't know why. What footage was I working with here? Why is it not crisp and beautiful? I don't know how do I explain it? Like, it doesn't feel like there's a good mesh between the face and the background plate at the Ranger stand-in. The show has done this plenty of times, but it doesn't look this weird. See, a curveball, the Jungle Fury demo theme. I have no idea when I actually made this. But I uploaded it in August 2018. Where did that song even come from? I don't know. Someone found it at the lowest quality they possibly could, uploaded to a website somewhere. And I was like, this is pretty fun. So I only made one. And I was only ever going to make one. I was never going to continue. For some reason, I put the TV ratings on it. I don't know why. Pretty standard. The cast credits are pretty much what I did for the later Jungle Fury openings for the V2s. B. Next up is Wild Force. What do I think about Wild Force then? I don't know. I don't really like them. I don't like the cast credits. I was just trying to do something and I couldn't figure out something, so this is what I ended up with, and I don't really like it. I don't know. It's like I couldn't match the energy of the original opening or match the I couldn't match it. You're going in C because I just don't really like your credits. Sorry, hun. Sorry, Wild Force. I tried my best, honestly. Maybe I should just do do all the Bonnier openings again, but like in the style of a modern era, rotoscope them to filth. I wouldn't enjoy that. It would be so hard to rotoscope that footage. It's not great. We're at the Mighty Morphin trilogy. I finally made it. I uploaded all of Mighty Morphin Season 1 in the same month. I was really popping off that month. I like this opening. I was trying to emulate more of like Season 2 style and Season 3 as well, where they smash through clips one after the other. And I like that bit. Cast credits are fine. It's not anything too far removed from what we actually got. This is where I've actually used Uringer clips. I've graded them properly so it matches the rest of the footage. I finally learned. It took me a few years, but I got there. And I always love sneaking in like an open exclusive shot like Billy with his power lance. I think that's a great shot, so I wanted to get that in there. A solid B. Season 2 again, I was trying to like tell the stories. Zed's here, Goldar's still here, boom, Zord's on the ground. Oh no, what are we gonna do? Oh look, there's a dragon in the sky. Oh, handshake. Power Rangers. I like a little story moment in the beginning. That's always nice. Cast credits, I quite like them. I had this thought for ages. I remember thinking, I want to make this work, and I tried a few times. I couldn't get it right, so I just stopped. And then eventually it kind of did. B. Safe. Season 3 again, like Season 3 itself, it told the story through the flashes of clips. Not too dissimilar. I like the cast credits here. Yeah. I'm just going to put it in B, because it's going to go B, isn't it? It's not offensive, it's not bad. God, this is so predictable. It's just B. Beast Morphers 1. I know where this is going. These cast credits, I don't like them. I like them in theory. Originally, I was going to use, so like Ravi's got the bit where he's taking off his helmet. And I was going to use Devon and Zoe shots as well. But they didn't look as good as Ravi's. So now it looks really odd that Ravi is on his own like it. It's always difficult making an open as the series is coming out because you have a lot less assets to use. You don't have a lot of foresight. I like the glitch to move to the villain section and glitch back out. And I like that little sequence where it's Flash, the blast, and the slash down, all three of them. I remember that blast I put in there. I think it was the first clip I put in because I needed it to match in with a sound effect that was baked into the song. So I'm going to put in C. Alien Rangers. Alien Rangers. I kind of wish I'd made two versions of this. One where he was like crediting the Mighty Morphin cast and the children, and then another one where they were cast crediting the Alien Rangers. I like the doubling up of the cast credits. I think it saves time. And it's efficient. Is it too much text on screen? Maybe. I don't know. I flip-flop between, and I don't know where I stand right now. I think at the moment I'm vibing. I like it. Solid Mighty Morphin opening. B. Time Force. Time Force. Power Rangers Go. Like I said a lot, it's hard to do Subbania openings. It just doesn't vibe. It just doesn't work with my soul. I don't know. You're going in a C. Next up is Lightspeed Rescue, which is going straight in the bin. In the bin. In the bin. Yes. Did I do anything to the credits? No, I did not. Zero inspiration on what to do for Lightspeed. I was like, maybe I could have like a siren going off in the background, maybe the visor shape, but none of it. Oh, that doesn't sound too bad. Why didn't I do that? So maybe I should have just waited and not made it. I like the rest of the opening. I like the bit where every ranger has a little zoom-in pose shot near the end. I like that I actually gave the Omega Megazord and the Max Solar Zord some spots in the opening as it went on, because the show never did that. Honestly, if you're making fan openings and you're using the original credits, I really don't care. You do what you want. I won't judge you for that. I will judge myself for that. And that is the only person I'm judging. Maybe I'll V2 you at some point. Give me 5 or 6 years. Beast Morphers 2. I like you a lot more. Cast credits, maybe too much. Maybe a little bit less or something. Maybe a little bit. Or maybe just tweaked slightly. Overall, I quite like the idea. It's very techno-y. Maybe I would have had, like... I was going to say things moving, boxes moving, but I felt that would have been way too much, considering this is too much. Overall, I think it has a better vibe. I'm saying vibe a lot. Beast Morphers Season 2, we're going into B tier. In Trees, Darkness Breed, Who Will Save the Universe? Power Rangers, Mystic Force. Mystic Force. Demo 2. I think this is going to A tier. I love this opening. Not just because of the song. The song is a bop, right? Okay. I like the little story bit at the beginning, and then it cuts to the explosions and boom and kick and swirl and the credits. It's a choice to not include any, especially this era, to not include any Ranger footage. But I stand by it. I think the crystal ball vibe with there's a bit of smoke in the background as well. And what it is giving is very Wizards of Waverly Place Season 4. And when evil moves about, that little section showing the villains works really nice. And the last opening where like it's all the 10 terrors, that little sequence I think works great. Zeo! Zeo, I had an idea. I ran with it. Did it pay off? Not sure. I like the idea of the shapes. It's just some people's shapes are a lot more difficult than others. Triangle works great. Oval works great. Rectangle looks a bit sad. Star works great. I like the clip sequence at the end, but the credits aren't really doing it for me. Honestly, the worst credit is when Jason comes in and he has this stupid King Kanji and it just takes up so much of the screen. You just need it to, because otherwise you can't see anything. And I don't think it works that well. I should have thought ahead when I did that to everyone. It's a C, because I would like to change it, but I just don't know what I would change it to. It's got Mega Force version 2. I really like this opening. What I really like actually is the middle instrumental sequence. I think that has a really nice rhythm. It's fast-paced. I like how it evolves as time goes on. It's got the little villain section that also evolves as time goes on. Is that A tier? I think that's an A tier. Dino Fury 1 has the same problem with Ninja Steel and Beast Morphers in that we didn't have a clean opening for so long. So I was relying on a lot of like baked-in sound effects, which is unfortunate. And again, like the problem of not having the entire show, so there's less clips to choose from because you're just working with what you got, right? So like Zeto's credit, I think works really well because it's just a good shot. Amelia's works okay. Ollie's, yeah, I like Ollie's. The wink is nice. Izzy's, I don't really like Izzy's. The left side of her hair is cut out and reattached at a different angle because her hair was so far out to the side that it was covering a lot of the shot. When it got to the new update with Ion, I got a new Izzy shot and I added that in. I kind of wish I'd waited maybe a little bit to wait for a better Izzy shot to come up, but I was eager, I was excited. Dino Fury goes in B. Overall, good opening. Cast credits are good. They're good cast credits. Next up is Super Mega Force version 2. This one I was trying out a few more things. I was trying out some 3D layers. I've got like the Pyra insignia that bevels, that's not the right word. Rotates on the 3D axis, we'll go with that. It works really nicely, I really like that. I think it's solid. It's kind of like an evolution of the Megaforce credits. Really hard to find nice shots of the cast because they're barely in Super Megaforce because it's just mostly Gokaiger footage. But the montage in the middle, like the instrumental montage of them doing like all their ranger changes, Gokai changes, when they're doing all that, I like that little montage. It's good. Super Megaforce, that is A tier. A tier. A tier. A tier. A tier. A tier. Dino Fury Season 2, I think, is an improvement on the first one. Nice little montage at the beginning, not really much to say, some split screens going on. I always like it when like a character comes out with a split screen. So when Ollie's doing his little morph, I like that he's overlapping the split screen. I don't know, I always like that. I really wanted to use the range of roll call shots in the first opening, but it just something didn't work with it. I like it here in the triangle with the explosion behind it. I had to recreate the lens flares because when rotoscoping, the lens flares were cut off and then they would look ridiculous. So I had to recreate it to extend it over the rest of the shot. That was good fun. I'd say Ollie's was the hardest to do because I was trying to rotoscope around the Blue Ranger on a blue background and it did not want to play ball. Evolution, revolution. Yeah, I like this opening. We're going to put that in A tier, I think. Dino Charge 30-second version. Now, I was never going to make a second version. There's not going to be another version of this. But I just wanted to see what it would look like if... I'm still planning to do this with other openings as well. Like, if it was made in the modern era with only 30-second openings, what it would look like. And I like it. It's not the most technically sound. Just because the clips of the Ranger posing, the rotoscope was a bit wobbly. But think of this more as like a concept piece. If I was on the show, this is the credit that I would do. But those shots of the Kyurangers in their roll call would have been original footage in front of a green screen that I would have filmed on set and then comped in to this. Kind of similar to the Samurai credits. I like the giant dinosaur logo behind them that slowly creeps in. B. It's so difficult to get even to that level of rotoscoping with those shots just because I know Sentai footage isn't the most crisp, even like in 2014 it wasn't as crisp. There's a lot of colours going on, there's an explosion going on behind. The rotoscope really wanted to go all different kind of places, so I pretty much had to do it frame by frame. So that's why it looks a bit wobbly. Next up is Samurai version 2 Remastered. Basically the same as the original Samurai V2 openings, but I changed up some of the sequences, I changed up the credits. It all came together so nicely. Because like the original openings, I don't know why, I was just using really low quality footage. I don't know why. I got my hands on some beautiful crisp 1080p encodes. There were a few like cast shots I changed up. I got rid of some of that bittiness but still kept like the brushstroke texture. Font changed to a nicer font. And a little bit of lens flare, like sparkles on the text. And just certain things with like the flow of the montage I changed a bit. Like there's a shot where like the Green Ranger leaps up and jabs his spear forward, and there's a nice wipe to like the Shinkenger opening shot, and for just like a single frame you can see some Japanese text because the creditless footage I have from Shinkenger is like such low quality that I had to not even consider that as an option, so I had to use credited footage. There was just enough of a clip where I could use it. See if you can spot the frame, that's a fun game. It's nice. There's a shot as well, which took me, I had to do frame by frame. The Blue Ranger unleashes like a water attack, and I had to edit out Shinken Brown. And I don't think anyone's noticed. I mean, maybe they have noticed. This is probably the favourite. No, it's not my favourite opening I've made, but it's definitely A tier. Next up is Cosmic Fury, the Kyuranger version. I didn't mean for this to get so out of hand, right? I just wanted to make a little what if Kyuranger was used, just because I really like the suits. I'm fine with what they did with Cosmic Fury. Kyuranger footage would not have worked with Cosmic Fury, with the story they were planning to tell. Oh, the amount of like quote tweets just added fuel to the fire of the Kyuranger anger at the time, and I was like, oh no, don't look at me. I just wanted to make a silly little fan edit. I made this in about a day. I went a bit wild. You know when you have an idea and you're like, this has to happen right now. I was like, well, obviously Izzy's Chameleon Green, but then I was like, oh god, Chameleon Green has a skirt. Izzy wouldn't put up with that, so I made her Sasori orange. I could buy Izzy's orange. That makes sense. And Fern could be green. It makes perfect sense. They're like a couple, right? So it makes sense. I employed a Neo Saban technique. At the footage at the beginning, I distorted the angles of the shots to make the illusion that the camera's moving, but they're actually static shots. Twist and turn the footage Just add a lens flare on top of it, you're good to go. You'll never notice. It looks like everything's in motion, but you're actually just tilting the footage on a 3D axis. There's a shot I really enjoy. The Kyuranger stood amongst the fire. It's blue, pink, black, green, orange, yellow. It's from like episode 5 of Kyuranger, I think. So gold and silver are also there, but I adapted them out of this. Thankfully, gold was still off to the side. I cropped him out. But between black and pink, there was Hibiscus silver. So I just cropped him out, sliced the footage, and just smushed it together. I think there is one little bit where you can see like the edge of his boot or something. Don't tell anyone. I think it's A tier. You can't stop me. Cosmic Kyuranger is next. I went. Remember Power Rangers High Speed? I sure do. This one, like again, this doesn't really make any sense for the show that was made. Like, why would Izzy ever go back to a skirt? Sadly, Fern does not get any Ranger suit here, which is quite sad. So that's already down point, you know. I do like the little sequence of clips here. It's nice, it's good. B tier. The only reason it's not A is... Why isn't it A? It's, you know what, it's gonna go A, because like, it's the same as the Kyuranger one. So this might be recency bias talking. We'll soon find out in like, when I do this in another 18 years. I think this is my favourite opening that I've made. Cast credits not too dissimilar from the real show. There's the hexagon pattern that they used in Supercharge. I put that in here. Yeah, I think Riley's works the best with like Riley looking up and then there's a slow zoom into his Ranger form. And I like Kendall's where she's not a Ranger yet, so she doesn't have anything, but it's just her in the base of the giant globe. And it's panning around, so it works really, it's a nice shot. Honestly, my favourite part of the Dino Charge theme song is the bit right after the chorus where it's like the final like lead up to the end of the song where it's got the you know that bit? That bit. So I was like, I want to create like a really tight montage here. And I think it worked. I think I did a good job. So I like the zoom in on the Red Ranger pose, Shelby explosion, the zoom in on Riley with his sword. But I think version 3 is the best one with the Graphite Rangers in it and there's a nice like slam moment on the music. It just works. I do have plans for Supercharge V2. I started making it. I've almost finished it, I think, but there's some parts that are not quite working yet. Mainly the opening 12 seconds. It's just difficult. There's something about Dino Charge where the first 12 seconds just are impossible. Dino Charge V2 is going in A tier, right at the top. So I guess that's my tier list. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. Maybe you think they're all pieces of shit. Maybe you really, really enjoy Dino Thunder V1. Maybe you love my Lightspeed openings and like, I can't believe you've done that. Maybe you don't care either way. That's it. That's all. See ya next time. So don't think I'm going to be doing this again. And if you're lucky, here's a sneak peek of Dino Supercharge V2. There you go.